and welcome to another BookTube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I've got quite heavy makeup on today, and it's because my fashion challenge that I'm doing over on Instagram, the prompt was witch. So not only do I have this sort of like semi-witchy dress on, I've also got really dark makeup on, which is not makeup that I normally wear, but hey, let's go with it. Today is a book haul. I have been getting my hand on some books recently, which has been lovely. I got 6 absolute gems in a charity shop, which I will show you. I've also got some from the publisher and a couple of Christmassy books that I've bought, which I'm very, very excited about. So let's start with the 3 from the publisher first. So these were all sent to me by Emma at Book Break. They are, we'll start with this one, The Wonderful Adventures of Mrs. Seacole in Many Lands, written by Mary Seacole herself. This is a Macmillan Collector's Library edition. This is a little, well, I say it's a little snip of a book, but actually I think it's just that the pages and things are so thin. This is actually 200 pages long. It's about Mary Seacole, who she has a Jamaican mother, I think, and a Scottish father. Yeah, and she was born in Kingston in Jamaica, and she travels from Jamaica to the UK in order to, with her wealth of medical knowledge, in order to help the troops, but is turned down for a job by Florence Nightingale. She then travels and helps care with the care for the English troops in the Crimean War. This is her story's told from her perspective. I think it's going to be amazing. Apparently she's got quite a lot of like sass and panache about her, so I think that's going to be really, really wonderful, like in many, many ways. I think it's going to keep on giving. Then I've got a collection of poetry called Cannibal by Sophia Sinclair, and this is a debut poetry collection. David and I have been getting more into poetry this year. We've been reading a poem every day, and we've been very much enjoying it, and then sort of like having a little chat about it afterwards. So any sort of opportunity to get me mitts on some poetry, I'm up for. So these poems, it said that they sort of disorientate, so I don't think these are going to be similar to the poems that David and I have been reading, but it's definitely like we'd like to expand our poetry horizons. So it says that Sinclair shocks and delights her readers with willingness to disorientate and provoke. This collection marks the arrival of a thrilling and essential new lyrical voice. But yeah, it explores race relations, what it's like to live as a woman in America, history, otherness, exile, and it's sort of it says collision here with The Tempest, so I don't know if they're like based on that or they link in with that, but yeah, interesting and very much looking forward to that. And then the last one I got from the publisher is Daily Rituals, Women at Work by Mason Curry. I've been very sort of invested in rituals this year, I think, because having a bit more time on your hand, having more time on my hands whilst I've been at home, because of lockdown, because other options have sort of been shut down to us, I've sort of invested a bit more concentration and effort into the things that I already do at home, and rituals is really something that I have unknowingly sort of done this year. There's a few rituals that I've started getting myself into, and I first sort of come across this ritual word during when I was listening to the audiobook of Nigel Slater's The Christmas Chronicles last year, where he talks about the rituals he has on the run up to Christmas. So it's definitely a word I've been thinking a lot about this year, and this book is about famous women and their daily rituals. It's got people here from Nina Simone to Zadie Smith, Coco Chanel, Virginia Woolf, Alice Walker, Charlotte Bronte, so sort of all over the time span. But they're not. There's many women in here. So yeah, I'm quite excited about this, and to see what rituals these women had. So yes, then we've got those 6 charity shop books. So near where I live there's a cancer research sort of superstore. I think they're getting a bit more common now, opening up in sort of like shopping, what do you call those places, David? And in there they were, all books were 2 for £1. Now I've got some good books from there before, but it's very hit and miss, as is always with charity shops, isn't it? But they just seem to have absolute bangers in there this time. So I got all 6 of these books for £3. Amazing. Tell me your biggest bargain in terms of a second-hand book, because I always love to hear things like that. So the first one, yes, it is a Persephone book, and it is Miss Buncle Married by D. Stevenson. I didn't hear anything about it, but I'm doing this stupid thing, which I imagine is quite a lot of people who own Persephones. I've got 3 Persephones now. One that was bought for a gift, one that I bought, and 2 that I bought second-hand, 3 that I've now bought second-hand, and I haven't read any of them. So I need to get around to it, but they're just so beautiful. Persephone is a publisher based in London who publish mainly works by women, and they're all got these sort of like grey front covers, and then the, like, inside the end papers are the prints from like vintage wallpapers or things like that. And you normally, when you buy them new, you get a bookmark that matches that. However, having bought this secondhand, there is no matching bookmark. So here it says, and it doesn't really have much of a blurb about it, so it's just got a little excerpt. So if I just read you a little bit of the excerpt, maybe we'll get a feel for it together. I like the name, said Arthur. I like the name of the book very much indeed. It goes well, very well with The Pen is Mightier, and it's quite in the John Smith tradition. You'll make a lot of money out of the book, Barbara. But it mustn't be published, cried Barbara, sitting bolt upright in bed and gazing at him with horror-stricken eyes. I never meant it to be published. Not published, exclaimed her publisher in amazement. No, 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 how could you think it, Arthur? But why? So there we go. So yeah, number 1 bargain. Number 2 bargain, Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This is, I'm very much a big fan of Sarah Waters' writing. Some of her books are some of my favourite books, and I haven't read Fingersmith, and I've heard that it's fantastic, so really, really delighted to get me mitts on that as well. I think this is set in, as is most Sarah Waters books, historical fiction featuring lots of lesbians, which I love. London 1862, Sue Trinder, orphaned at birth, grows up among petty thieves, fingersmiths, under the rough but loving care of Mrs. Suxby and her family. But the moment she draws breath, Sue's fate is linked to that of another orphan growing up in a gloomy mansion not too many miles away. So yeah, sounds amazing. Then I've got, never heard of this one before. This is Love in a Headscarf, Muslim Woman Seeks the One by Shalina Zara Yan Mohammed, and it caught my eye because I was like, women's contemporary fiction told from a perspective that you don't often hear from. Then when I flicked through it, it had the cutest card inside. Listen to this card that I found inside. Kate, I wondered if this book would interest you. When I heard the author speak about it on TV, in light of the conversation we had when we spoke about the show, The Family, I thought it would be interesting to read about it from a Muslim woman's point of view. Hope you enjoy it. Lots of love, Sandra. Sandra, you absolute babe. Doesn't that sound lovely? So yeah, women's contemporary fiction from a Muslim woman's point of view. I'm into that and looking forward to it. Then I've got a book that I did try reading when I first started BookTube, and I borrowed my friend Emma's beautiful, sort of like, it was a hardback edition, but with like a naked spine, and you could see all like the binding of the book. It was just the most beautiful book, and I don't ever think I finished it, and that's A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. I know this is sort of beloved on BookTube, or it definitely was when I started BookTube, but if I remember rightly, you're reading about a young girl's perspective, and she finds, she finds a message in a bottle or something from another woman in another part of the country. Within the pages of this book lies the diary of a girl called Nao. Riding the waves of a tsunami, is making its way across the ocean. It will change the life of the person who finds it. It might change yours too. So yes, I would like to get back to that. And then I've got Helen Fielding calls Celeb. So Helen Fielding's Bridget Jones's Diary is sort of another one of my favourite books. I absolutely love that book, and I love the film adaptation of it. And I've never read anything else by Helen Fielding aside from Bridget Jones type things. And this is her debut, I believe, which was published in 1994. Oh no, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know when Bridget Jones's Diary was published. Yes, it is. Sorry, it's her debut. So this is, it sounds sort of like similar to Bridget Jones in that there's a woman at the head of it. She's got a sort of like up and coming career in London. So disillusioned by her glitzy life in London and a desirable but cruel TV presenter boyfriend, Rosie Richardson chucks it all in and spends 4 years running a refugee camp in Africa. Then famine strikes in a nearby province and an influx of starving refugees threatens to overwhelm the camp. Frustrated by the cautious response of the aid agency, Rosie decides on a drastic short-term solution. She returns to London, breaks back into the celebrity circuit and brings the celebs out to Africa for a star-studded TV emergency appeal. So I picked this up because I'd never read anything else by Helen Fielding and really, really loved Bridget Jones. But also, yeah, it sounds very 90s, doesn't it? It sounds very feed the world. etc., which links in with my next 3 books. And yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting, so pick that up. And then the last one I got from the bargain charity shop haul was The Santa Claus Murder by Mavis Doriel Hay. This is one of these British Library crime classics. And it's a Christmas murder. It's a murder story, like a sort of cozy murder mystery set at Christmas, and about a family, the Melbury family. They're gathering at their country residence, Flaxmere. Sir Osmond Melbury, the family patriarch, is discovered by guests dressed as Santa Claus with a bullet in his head on Christmas Day. The festivities are plunged into chaos. Nearly every member of the family stands to reap some sort of benefit from Sir Osmond's death, but Santa Claus, the one person who seems to have every opportunity to defy the shot, has no apparent motive. So yeah, cozy Christmas mystery. And then the last 2 are 2 that I bought. Now this is a new release. It came out at the beginning of the month, and it's another. These 2 are also Christmas books. It's The Miracle on Ebenezer Street by Catherine Doyle. This is, look at it, and then look underneath. Oh, Christmassy. And this is about George, who's spending his 3rd Christmas without his mum. His mother died, and since then his life has felt dull and grey, and his dad has thrown himself into his work, and he's got no time for family and definitely no time for Christmas. Then George stumbles across an old curiosity shop called Marley's Curiosity Shop, and the story unfolds from there. So yeah, it looks lovely. It's got really nice sort of like illustrations at the beginning of each chapter. These are the books I want to be reading at Christmas, just having a lovely time. A chapter called The Impossible Puddle. I'm into that sort of thing. Yeah, sounds like it's going to be great. Oh, I've just seen a lovely last one to show you. Last Christmassy little thing to show you. The Insistent Snow Globe. So that's another one. And then the last one is also a Christmas book. I bought this in a garden centre. Need to peel the label off actually. I bought this in a garden centre. David and I had another one of these books out from the library last year, The Christmas Carol Search and Find. So it's a picture book under the sort of, they're called these search and find books. So this is the Nutcracker and the Mouse King, and each page has a sort of, it doesn't give you the exact story. It's sort of like a condensed version of the story, and then it gives you things to find in this picture. And David and I, and the illustrations are lovely and very Christmassy obviously, and David and I last year did a Christmas Carol one, which I said I got out from the library. When I saw that this was for sale, I was like, oh David, look, do you remember we did that? And David was very good at it, but also a bit sneaky, because I was having to read the writing, and he was already getting a look at what was happening. Yes, I remember. But yeah, so we're gonna have a lovely time doing that again this year at Christmas. So another lovely book. So those are the books that I've got my mitts on so far in October. Let me know what books you have been reading. As I said, let me know your best charity shop bargain book. Would be very interested. And I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye.